All right. Hello, superhero friends. Welcome to the late night comic book read. I am your host, Felicia Hardy, also known as Black Cat from the Spiderman universe. So let me just get my claws on quickly. Hopefully I'll be able to read the comic book along with it, or with these gloves on, so I'm aware. I'm very late. I'm apology. I was supposed to be online about an hour ago, but the mask part took a little bit longer than I anticipated. So hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm just going to make sure I have enough space here. I have been... Hello. Okay, good. Hi. Let me see here. Who's in here? Dickie Greenleaf. Gabe, hello, Daniel. Okay, so today is going to be a Marvel comic book read, you guys, for the late night read. So thank you so much for joining me. I am Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. If you're not familiar, I'm doing like the old school version of Black Cat, which has all like the fur and all that kind of good stuff. Oh, thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that. So I love Black Cat. She's kind of like not as well known as the other ladies in the Spiderverse, but she's a favorite of mine personally. So I made this cosplay as an ode to Miss Felicia, Black Cat. I didn't have the mask last time, but I have the mask this time. So you gotta add the mask to the whole thing because, you know, she's a cat burglar as well. So I'm going to get into what I'm going to read you guys in just a moment. Just trying to get my setup right so that my mic's not too much in the way. I hope you guys are having a good night, good evening, wherever in time space you are tuning in right now. So just to let you guys in on who I am Rachel Z. I love cosplay, but I come from a background of like English literature, right? So I like looking at the comic books as like new mythology and a way of understanding you. So I've been doing a lot of DC content lately and not a lot of Marvel, and the reason for that is not because I don't love Marvel. I do have certain comic book series that I love. I'm going to be honest, I don't read a lot of Spider-Man. Yes, Scottenvich, yes. She's not as well known. I think last time I played Felicia, I didn't have the full cosplay in. This is the full cosplay list. So let me just get everything ready. So ironically enough, I went and I got a comic book that actually has Black Cat in it. I think Black Cat actually talks to Jean Grey in this. So it'll be a fun little crossover situation. So I found out Black Cat is actually... you'll find that between Marvel and DC, they have a lot of like not crossover, but copycat characters like Deadpool, Deadshot. There's a few others that are just kind of like equivalencies to each other, right? So make sure that, yeah, okay. This might make things a little bit difficult, but I'm okay. I'm going to go with it. Okay, so let me give you guys some intel into Black Cat, and then we'll go into the read for tonight, and I'll see how long I can keep my claws on. We shall see. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Got it. So no touching the camera for a little while. Thanks for the like, Deathstroke. Speaking of equivalent characters between Marvel and DC, I'm going to bring you guys closer to me, actually. It's okay. All right, friends. Hi, I'm Felicia Hardy, also known as the Black Cat. Strictly speaking, in the Spiderverse, Black Cat is a villain, just kind of like Catwoman in the DC universe. So some commonalities. Felicia Hardy is a cat burglar. She loves Spidey. She loves Peter Parker. She loves pursuing him as a love interest, which I kind of how should I say this? I can kind of get with that. In the sense of like, I've been married to my husband for like 10 years now, but back when I was dating, back when I was out there prowling, I was very upfront, right? It's probably because my Venus is in Aries, but when I like someone, if I like, so even this goes for girls too. Like I will go out of my way to compliment a girl or a guy. Like me and my hubby are not like jealous people. We're not swingers either, but at the same time, it's like appreciation of beauty in others does not take away from anything in your own relationship. That's all I gotta say about that. So what we're gonna read you guys today, I'm gonna read you from the Spiderverse. So remember how I told you how there's a Spider-Man version where he's like a crossover between Spider-Man and Indiana Jones? This is not that comic book. However, I think this is like an anthology because it deals with the multiverse in the Marvel world. So I am not as familiar with the multiverse in Marvel. I'm going to do some more due diligence when it comes to that, but I didn't even get into my backstory as Felicia Hardy. So my father was like a notorious cat burglar, and so I followed in his footsteps, kind of following in with that theme with like comic books and like girls with daddy issues, perhaps. Even though it's happening in movies at the moment. Is Felicia in live action? I think she's in this. So I'm going to read you guys her section in the comic book, even though there's other stories in here, because keeping in the theme of cosplay and comic books. Okay. So, Felicia, oh my gosh, I went to do this mask. I went through some of the old comic books or old renditions of how Black Cat looks, because I'll show you how she looks in this. And it's not bad, but she definitely looks more like a Spider Girl. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Where are you? I should have put in the ponytail too, but I didn't have time for that. So like, see? Yeah, so see how she's got more of like the spider, and like I'm not opposed to this costume either, but I'm all for like the fur, like the Felicia is, but no Black Cat yet. Oh, hopefully we'll see her soon. Oh, okay, so Felicia's there, but no Black Cat yet. So Felicia Hardy, I'll give you guys some info about her and her powers, because what we discovered last time when I played Felicia Hardy, I went on this like background research on her, and so she herself doesn't have any powers. Well, it depends. She doesn't have any powers. She has a secondary mutation where she is able to give people bad luck. You know, like if Andrew has Felicia, I believe. Okay. Let me just put, oh my gosh, my hair out of the way. All right. Okay, so where was I going with this? So we found out, so this idea of secondary mutations is something that I think is unique to Marvel. DC does have mutants, let's say, as well, but they call them metahumans. But in the Marvel universe, you have your genetic mutation or superpowers, and then there's like secondary mutations that happen as a result of perhaps your abilities. Like for example, Wolverine, right? He has adamantium claws, and he's able to handle that infusion into his body of adamantium, making him like extra powered and extra super strength. But he was only able to handle that secondary transition or transformation or mutation because of his healing factor in the beginning. I don't know what Felicia had in the beginning to have the secondary mutation, but her secondary mutation, my secondary mutation, is the ability to give bad luck to anyone who locks eyes with me, so I can like send bad luck out. Now, this is interesting because the way they explain it in Marvel is, and I love comic books for this, right? The way they like logically explain powers, right? Like even Magneto, like how he flies is not the same way that Storm flies, right? So she quantum, like, you know, like Doctor Strange, how in the Avengers, he was able to see all the different possibilities. Hey, Papa Bear, welcome. Felicia Hardy here. So you know how Doctor Strange was looking into all possibilities in the future in the Avengers, right? And then he found the possibility and the pathway by which they win, like, you know, like 0.01%, whatever, by the power broker. Opie, I think you're right. So she had secondary mutations, right? Which I'm a villain, right? A nice villain, but a villain nonetheless, right? And kind of like Catwoman in the sense of like sometimes I play on the good side, but it's really just because I have a thing for Spider-Man. more than anything else, right? So let's get into the reading. The way that they explain Black Cat's secondary mutation is like through this quantum, like she's able to alter quantum possibilities. And I really love that because it's like a nice way to talk about powers. So we're talking about like real life, right? When if you were to say, oh, I have a lucky streak, or I'm able to give other people lucky streaks or bad luck streaks, that could be considered a power. You're playing with possibility. So, and being aware of like what actions you can take in order to have the odds be in your favor, right? And in a way that alters maybe the quantum field. So I'm not going to get into that too much. I didn't know that about Black Cat before. I did some research on her, so I thought that was pretty cool. I hope you guys did too. So we're going to read Edge of Spiderverse. I'm going to skip ahead to where Black Cat is actually in the comic book, just so we can. I like her because she's probably one of the more sassy characters that I cosplay as. Amazing Spider-Man 2 has Felicia, but no, that's right, actually. That's right. Felicia is in there. I feel like they kind of did with Felicia what Gwen Stacy was a bit, but Spider-Gwen is not this, like, yeah, I remember Felicia Hardy and Black Cat from, like, the old Spider-Man, oh my goodness, cartoon from, like, the early 2000s that was on YTV. It also had, like, Punisher and Daredevil on it sometimes. Okay, so this is Earth 50101. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that Earth. I'm also not familiar with, okay, so number 3. We're going to do number 3. So this is our way of learning about the Marvel Multiverse, because I'm not as familiar, you guys, so I'm going to learn about it through the Spiderverse. I think that they have done it a bit more eloquently than what DC has done with Flash, but we shall see. Hi, Mr. Top Ramen. I'm Black Cat. So don't worry, you guys. I consider myself as like the good Black Cat in this Earth. So instead of giving bad luck, I give good luck. 7 years, good luck to all those who cross my path. All right. Oh, mini Marvels here. So we're going to do number 3. Kind of like the cover art on this as well. Watercolor kind of painting. So number 3. 3 is a very powerful number. So maybe that's a good thing that we're going to do this together. Yeah, and comic reading. Spider-Man animated, yes. There's a few. I have some clips I'm going to source with her. Also, you guys, side note, Tracy Scopes, if you search her up, she does a lot of, like, X-rated comic books. And she does a lot with, like, Black Cat and Mary Jane and Spider-Man, and they're pretty hot. So that's also, like, where I know her from. Okay, so we're in Earth 801. Yeah, dude, look, the thing about internal monologues is, who am I meant to be addressing? Myself or you? Are you me? Am I you? Do you know everything I do? Am I just talking to myself? Or am I pretending there's an audience out there? Who knows? I love that. So Spider-Man, actually, I've noticed this from, I haven't read a lot of Spider-Man comic books, but Spider-Man's, you have like the bubbles when they're talking, but you also have like your internal monologue, what do you want to call them? Squares. Where you're inside that character's head. And Spider-Man, I find, like, when you're in Spider-Man's head, it's a lot more of it's lighter. But let's say Batman, or even like any of the Bat family, or even it's like you're carrying this like heavy load, right? But Spider-Man has this youthful way of dealing with that responsibility, I suppose. So let's read that again, because I love that. So Earth 801. Yeah, dude, look, the thing about internal monologues is, who am I exactly meant to be addressing? Hey, Francis. Hey, Pikachu. Hey, welcome to the comic book reading. It is Felicia Hardy, Black Cat here to read you guys some Spider-Verse. So let's get into it, you guys. Okay, so who am I meant to be addressing? This is Spider-Man talking. We're over on this panel right here. Myself or you? Are you me? Am I you? Do you know everything that I do? Or am I just talking to myself? Or am I pretending that there's an audience out there? Who knows? This is as he's kicking ass right now too. I love that. Either way, shall we just start at the start? My name is Paviter. Ooh, Paviter? Oh my goodness, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Paviter. I am Spider-Man. I dance hard, work hard, and I punch hard. I'm your average, reluctant teenage superhero who loves the attention but hates himself for the same. And remember, this is the Spiderverse. It's a multiverse, right? So this is Earth 801. I haven't mapped out the Marvel universes as much as I have DC, but this always a good time to start. And I love that I'm starting doing it as Black Cat. And maybe she only exists in certain universes, you guys, to explain to you before, like why there's maybe Felicia Hardy and Amazing Spider-Man 2, but not exactly Black Cat. Okay, so now Earth, oh my gosh, Earth 60526. Okay. You look kind of like Dr. Doom, Spider-Man. Let's hope that that's not the case. So Earth 60526. I am the Spider-Man of Earth 50101. I know there are other Spider-Mans, Spider-Girls even, Spider-People, other Earths. I love them all. I have fought with them, traversed the multiverse with them, eaten with them, but I'm my Earth Spidey. I love that. Who's our Earth Spidey, you guys? You let me know. Is it you? So every Earth has these are the mantles that are being held by these characters, right? So I've chosen Felicia. And it's not to say there aren't more Black Cats or Felicia Hardys out there, right? This is just mine. So let's bring my mic a little closer to me. Thanks you guys for joining me for the read here of Spiderverse as Black Cat Felicia Hardy. Thank you. Thanks for the follow, Destiny. Okay. Dude, the other web slingers call me the Indian Spider-Man. Spider-Man India. It is so ridiculous, yar. Spider-Man India. Ha ha. Do Indian people call Indian food? Or do they just call it food? In 50101, I'm food. All of this talk of food is making me hungry. Then again, I'm always hungry. Are you fighting Dr. Doom while you're trying to do this? So it's funny, all the little internal monologues of the Spider-Mans across the multiverse here. Okay, now we're on Earth 1052. I hope you guys are keeping track of these Earths. Why do I put myself through it? All these rogues, all these villains, these never-do-wells. My dearly departed Uncle Bim? Okay. My dearly departed Uncle Bim always told me, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. He's so right, dude. I miss him so much. Aunt Maya keeps his memory alive by doing Seva, selfless service to the community, which is cool, and I do more, but it gets in the way of my web slinging. Aunt Maya's the best. What a top gal. 10 out of 10. Best auntie ever. Because remember, there's different Spider women, Spider girls throughout the universes, but you're always going to have these same beats, right? These same beats when it comes to the stories as they're being told, right? And the different characters. So here it's Uncle Bim and Aunt Maya. And then in Earth, this looks like kind of like a venom creature too. And a riff on it. And then on Earth 84235, but how does he climb walls? Was he born this way? Oh, thank you for all the roses. Cat to a cat. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so, Thank you. Yeah, I hope you guys know I'm Felicia, the black cat from the Spiderverse. And so I'm reading you guys from the Spiderverse. We are going to do the section, or rather the story that features a version of Black Cat. So, thank you. Okay, here we go, guys. I was supposed to be on a bit earlier, but the whole mask situation took a little while, but needed, right? And you gotta have like the fur, right? Because the fur makes it. It's all about it. Okay. Thank you. Yes. She deserved to be. Yeah, I felt like Felicia deserves to be brought to life. That being said, though, I do love Mary Jane. I do love Gwen Stacy. I love all the girls in the Spider-Verse. I just think that Felicia deserves a little bit more love. Oh, thank you. Okay. I had such a big crush on her. I had a girl crush on Felicia for like a while, since I was a teen, right? And I know you guys like think that I only do DC, but I do love Marvel too, you guys. I will say that comic book wise, that I first started reading Marvel comic books. I came to DC a bit later. I watched DC more, right? Like the 60s TV show of Batman was probably my first like DC kind of thing. DC is but remember, I was younger when I came to Marvel. DC, as I became like an older, more advanced comic book reader, I got into more entrenched in. And so when it comes to the multiverses, right, I'm not as familiar with Marvel's mapping of the multiverse. So we're using this as a Batman Beyond. Oh my gosh, Batman Beyond was awesome. Oh my gosh, I just missed like a comment I'm gonna put here. How about Witchblade comic book? I haven't read Witchblade, but I've been told that I should, and so I will. And yeah, Decent Ghost. I do think DC's better. My sister is a DC purist and only reads DC comic books. Kind of funny. Orion Reviews, thank you for the follow. And the Batman, I love the Batman animated series, you guys. And also Arkham Asylum and all that kind of stuff in terms of video gameplay has also been, I consider those canon to the story, right? I'm reading Crisis. I have Crisis on Infinite Earths here. It's part of the Cosmic Comic Book Club read. So I'm actually following, so Crisis on Infinite Earths, fun fact, the reason why I did Crisis, I actually read that, and tomorrow I'm reading part 2 of this, which follows Crisis on Infinite Earths by Alan Moore. So not to switch between Marvel and DC, but Titans on Netflix is great. Yes, I've heard that, Geronimo. So I will tell you guys, I'm a very hopeful person when it comes to things, right? So whenever there's like live action of any character, I'm always filled with hope that what I see come to life on the screen will be like what the character is supposed to be, right? Because it's kind of like one of those things where like I've been watching House of the Dragon. I'm like late because I know there's 2 seasons out already, and I was so sad about how they ended Game of Thrones, right? And it's because, like, you know, if you're a writer or you're a reader and you actually read the comic books and then you watch the movie, you can have some forgiveness for certain things, right? Because you're aware that the medium is specific to, like, you have some limitations when you're trying to tell a story. However, the character is the character. So certain things kind of need to be there. Geronimo, really? That's funny. I usually don't pronounce things properly, Geronimo, so I think that that's a synchronicity. I blame the fact that my mom is Filipino and my dad's South African, so at home there's just accents. So I just ended up learning. I just say things weird, so I just kind of like mumble them or say them fast. I'm like, maybe you won't realize I mispronounced it properly. Or what I like to do instead is give people pet names or like things like that, so I don't have to worry so much about. I lost a nail too somewhere. I'll find it. Okay. Oh, I missed the hat. Oh, thanks, Dad, Brad. Oh, looking for a nail. Okay, so you guys, I'm reading you guys from the Spiderverse just because on this show I typically like to do comic books that deal with crossovers. right? Like, not to say that we don't do like single series reads that are like feel good, especially on the weekend, but typically I like to do these as like a way, doesn't it? Right? I love it. And remember I told you guys before in this show about the Spider-Man who's like a crossover with Indiana Jones. Well, that's him. So I guess that's how they explain it. Anyways, let's keep going in the comic book. So what basically has happened so far, Gwen might be in this, but Black Cat for sure is in this. That's why I've done her. Gwen's in this. I'm not sure if she's going to be in the story that I'm reading you guys tonight, though. But I do have a Spider-Gwen cosplay I'm working on as well. So her, Mary Jane, Black Cat, Gwen, like all of Spidey's Chiquitas. Gonna have a little like show with them all together. So, okay. Let's see here. So that's what I do. I swing, I thwip, I run, I jump, climb stuff, hit stuff, duck stuff, and put stuff right. It is hunger-inducing. Thank God I packed a snack. I never realized that's part of Spider-Man's character is that he's hungry all the time. I am likewise hungry all the time. 1984 Secret Wars or 2015 Secret Wars. I gotta go with 1984, my friend. I'm not as familiar. I haven't read specific. So I'll tell you guys this. I don't know if you ever, like in school, right? Where you didn't read the book for something. So you're like, I'm gonna read the Coles notes. So I've read the Coles notes of Secret Wars 2015 or like aware of the story that way instead of actually interfacing with it. And I think that that's a different experience. And so when that happens, I would have to say the one that I actually know about or actually I've interfaced with. So, yeah. Okay. Earth 50101. I'm Paviter, oh my gosh, Prabhakar. I am Spider-Man. I do my best. That's all I can do, right? Why do I do what I do? I'm so glad you asked, dear internal monologue. If not me, then who? Great question, Spider-Man. And that's why I tell you guys all the time that only you are able to be that hero, right? Only you can be like, so it's like, why do I do what I do? Because if it's not me, then who, right? No one. Okay, now we are at Earth 194, the Delvidian Embassy, the night of the Ambassador's Ball. And there I am, Felicia Hardy, clearly there to probably steal some shiny jewel by pretending to be at the ball. Or pretending to be a guest at the ball. Okay. So what's the word, Jean? Does the ambassador need us to keep guarding this thing or what? No clue, boys. He's had his hands full the whole night. I swear, if she wasn't my best friend, I would hate her. I feel like this is Jean Grey. We'll see what goes on here. Miss Hardy, if I knew it would take you... Miss Hardy, if I knew all it would take to bring you into my arms was to put my country's famed tarantula idol on display. Look at that idol. The beetle, I feel like it must be some sort of like magical artifact on top of it. So, Miss Hardy, if I knew all it would take to bring you into my arms was to put my country's famed tarantula idol on display, I would have done it years ago. It's adorable, Anton. You think that's what is on display here. True. Every eye is upon us. Us? Oh, tell me, Miss Hardy, why do I have the feeling that I am not leading this dance? Because I'm taking you exactly where I'd like you to go. Why, look, it's my good friend, Detective Jean DeWolf. I believe she's been trying to have a word with you all evening. I don't know who Jean DeWolf is. If you know who Jean DeWolf is, you tell me. I thought it was going to be Jean Grey, but no. Thanks, pal. I can take it from here. Now, Ambassador, about the city's security detail. In a moment, Detective. Senora Hardy, is there no way I could tempt you to stay after? Sorry, sweetie. I have plans. But whatever you get up to, I am sure I will hear all about it. I have heard about Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, because Hawkeye's got a lot of Egyptian mythology entrenched in it, right? Yeah, so this Spider-Man 2 here, Spider-Man Noir guy, there is an issue where he goes to... So I love goddesses, you guys, right? So like Inanna, Ishtar, Venus, Aphrodite, Hathor, all the goddesses. I love all their stories. And so in one of the issues, Spider-Man goes on this like Indiana Jones quest. You know, like relic hunter. I'm going to find a relic. So he goes to the temple of Inanna and he finds something called the Macabre Crystal. And if you aren't from, I love like Phoenix Force, right? And Jean Grey. And so the Macabre Crystal, in it has a portal to something called the White Hot Room. And the White Hot Room is like this space in time space in the Marvel Universe where anyone who has ever been the host to the Phoenix, which is Jean Grey, but also Cyclops and Emma Frost and a few others like Quentin Quagmire, other people, they all like a version of them will forever be there. So that's something I kind of look into. I've been trying to look for that issue. But yeah, as I said, I'm not as familiar with Marvel's way of dealing with the multiverse. So I'm always curious about how we deal with the different versions, right? I found Ronin Hawkeye's better. Is his better form. Ooh, I need to bring that into here because I used to love Hawkeye, and I feel like his backstory there should be more light brought into like his mythology. I would say the Dark Phoenix. Oh, nice. Yes, I love the Dark Phoenix saga. I feel like the animated TV show in the 90s did that decently well, but the live action has yet to do that Dark Saga Phoenix, I think, justice. Same thing goes with the Killing Joke from Batman. Like the animated version, I remember watching that with you guys as Batgirl, and that like weird like sexy scene between Batman and Batgirl. We were all horrified together, but not to get sidetracked. But Orion, we should do a show maybe. We should talk about certain, let's say, like major storylines in comics that have been tackled in live action and like what they got right and what they didn't get right so much. Hi, Rarksney Tim. Hello, welcome. And okay, so let's keep going, guys. We're reading from the Spiderverse, or rather, Edge of the Spiderverse, as Felicia Hardy's Black Cat. And look, I'm in the story already. I'm clearly there to like maybe steal that fancy beetle. Oh, I'm happy you think I'm Storm too, but I'm Felicia. My Storm cosplay would look a little different. I'd have different contacts, and Storm's hair would be a bit more you know what I mean, like more goddessy, and like, yeah, it would be a different look a little bit. Hey Colby, hi. Oh, thanks for the likes, guys. Thanks, you guys. I made this cosplay too, by the way, so it's like I'm a real cosplayer now, you guys. Okay, where are we? Oh yes. So while she was dancing with that guy, she planted a listening device, of course, because I'm a cat burglar. So high-tech listening device. Thanks for the rose, Colby. You have nothing to fear, Detective, once we all leave. This room will be guarded by an infrared laser grid. Forget all the fancy balls and galas. Infrared goggles. Let's go, Black Cat. This is the only kind of party I want to crash. Oh, Jean, sometimes I feel like the worst friend in the world. And look, Black Cat sneaks in, does her like Mission Impossible thing, right? Dodging all of like the laser beams to go steal that really, really special tarantula. And the idol itself will be in a case. And so here you got fingerprint sensitive microfiber. that only I can open. You always think I'm scratching your back when you've been unknowingly scratching mine. Boop. And then she's got like a fake fingerprint. You know, this is very like Ocean's 11, like sneaking in to grab it because, you know, I am a villain after all. A nice villain, but a villain in this universe, all the same. Yes, I would love that. I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think that would be... She's spicy, right? And I also do love Zendaya's Mary Jane. So, yeah, there's some fun there. They could do some stuff. Okay, so... I agree with you, Orion. In the next Holland MCU trilogy, now he's not. Because Black Cat's got some... She's spicy, right? Like, she loves Spider-Man, but as I said, like, she has her own moral code, so she's got some similarities there to Catwoman in, like, I'm bad, but I'm good, but I'll help you, maybe. Okay, so she's made it to the case. So this looks like it's an ancient relic of some sort. Hey there, handsome. What do you say? Do you want to come home with me tonight? Oh, I love... Oh, Ray, thank you. Hey, Chris, welcome. Black Cat, Felicia already here. And a lot of my girlfriends didn't even know who I was when I was telling them tonight. I was like, I'm going to be Black Cat tonight. They're like, who? Cat? I'm like, no. Okay, so she reaches for the tarantula, right? And then it does this whole snipped. Yow! The dang thing bit me. Oh no, it bit her. I don't know if it's an ancient relic. If you've ever watched any horror movies, that's not a good sign. You never want to bleed around, like, weird cursed things or, like, you don't know what it is. Ancient artifact kind of stuff. So, see? Look. Oh, no. God damn it. Ow. The thing bit me. Zee. Why is my head throbbing like this? Okay, worry about that later. I gotta get out of here. Nobody move. NYPD. We have you completely... See. So all the alarms are going off. The weird artifact thing bit me. So, and now I'm starting to feel a little weird. So, what happens next? Let's find out. We have you surrounded, and she's gone. Everyone fan out. The entire location is locked down. There is no way they could have gotten past us. Okay, what is going on? How did I get out here? What did you do to me, little spider? And why are all the buildings upside down? Oh my gosh, this spider thingy just gave me powers. Look at that, because now I'm standing on the walls. Dun 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 dun. Maybe we should do this in the Tom Holland MCU, right? We're like touching an ancient spider and it gives you powers. Okay, why am I upside down? Oh, okay. Well, this is interesting. All the ways to land on my feet. After all, I'm a cat and I do land on my feet. Now you can land upside down on your feet, Miss Hardy. Oh my gosh, so she now has... Am I the Spider-Man of this universe? Is that the case? Is that what they're setting up here? It's kind of funny. Okay. Regarding... Oh, wait a minute. My other computer is acting up a little bit. Let me just... Oh no! What the heck is going on here? I'm going to just... Hopefully this doesn't cause my my light to go off. But I'm going to restart this. Okay, so I'm going to just... Because I have my other computer on, and I usually use it as like a way of like researching, but it was like acting up. Okay, let me continue. Oh, weird. Okay, I'm going to just keep going. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, you guys, hold on a second. It's so... I'm having like a technical difficulty thing with my other computer, which is like not good. Let me just shut this down completely. And then I'm going to just make sure that I have another light. 1 second. Oh no, my other nail came off. Okay. Okay, so that's a little weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm going to leave it off for a second and then keep reading you guys the comic book, and then I will figure that out later. I need that for editing, so I do a bunch of edits, and that's why I hadn't been around for a little while, because I was like doing some major editing stuff, so we shall see. Okay. Thanks, the hood. Okay, so we've got Felicia Hardy just went in to go steal some beetle, and then, not a beetle, it's a spider. We've just figured out it's a tarantula, a relic, and it bit her. So now I have Spider-Man powers. And now there's been a theft, so it's been talked about. I thought this was Jean Grey. It's not Jean Grey. It's a different Jean. Okay, regarding the theft last night of the Delvadian spider idol, the NYPD is following numerous leads, and it won't be long until it is recovered, and our spider thief is apprehended. Dun, dun, dun. Spider thief? No, that won't do. I don't like Spider Thief at all. Detective, what about other priceless relics around the city? Should we be worried that they're at risk too? Wilson Fisk has voiced concerns that I am well aware of Mr. Fisk's concerns in regard to his famous clay tablet, and I am personally overseeing its safekeeping. Ooh, challenge accepted. Spider Thief? Ugh. I have to do something before that sticks. Do a little bit of rebranding. From now on, they should call me the Night Spider. So, in this universe, I guess I'm the spider person? The Night Spider? I kind of like that look. I guess that explains why she looks Spider-Man-y, right? As opposed to like the fur and the bada bing, bada boom kind of thing going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Sure, okay, good. I was just trying to make sure that I wasn't like accidentally showing you guys too much. Aw. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's keep going. Fisk Tower. Eyes peeled, boys. No one gets past us tonight. Understood? Let's see. What's next? Pressure plates along the floor. But which plates are safe to... And so we see here, expert cat burglar. And so she sees this and she can... Now she's got spider powers, though. So she can do some extra special cat burglar things. But I guess in this case, I'm not Black Cat. I'm Night Spider, right? And you are okay. Thank you, Spidey Sense. Swoop, pff, click. Ah, not you. Oh no, a combination safe. Whatever shall I do? And then crunch. Way too easy. I love that. So when I used to play RPG games too as well. Oh, favorite Daredevil comic, Orion. I'm going to be honest, don't read very much Daredevil. I knew about Daredevil in context of Daredevil and Punisher being in Spidey's universe too. I do like Daredevil, though. I do. I like Elektra as well. I wish, as I said, one of those things with the Marvel universe, like certain characters you wish they played more with others in that world, right? Okay. That security setup, so like she goes in, she steals something else because she's basically got superpowers now beyond like giving people bad luck, right? So what does this mean? Okay, That security setup was state of the art, and it all went live last night. A job like that should have taken weeks for a burglar to plan. There is no way a thief could have pulled that off on instinct alone, Captain. And yet, they did. That's twice they've made you and me and this entire department look like fools, Jean. Do not let it happen again. The entire scene is clean, Detective, except for one set of footprints on the ceiling. What? We have no idea what the perp even looks like because every security cam's been covered with webbing. I know. Titanium bars bent wide open, and there are handprints, Detective. Whoever did this, let me guess, had the proportional strength of a spider. Dun, dun, dun. I guess this is what would happen if Spider-Man decided to be a cat burglar too. Just web the security cams and then walk on the ceiling, and then there you go. Titanium bars bent open, and their handprints, Detective. Whoever did this had the proportional strength of a spider. Hey, Felicia, is this a good time? No, but to be fair, you can only catch me at a bad time. Lately, my entire career is a bad time. Same, Jean. Can you come over? We need to talk. Peter Parker was 79 years old. Debut 1962 at age 17. I feel younger. I do believe, Adam, that comic books and storytelling, when it comes to that kind of making yourself a character in the comic, that's the key to immortality, I think, right? But yes, Peter Parker, 1962, looks great for his age, right? I love looking at the Astro of characters as well, you guys, if you go to my YouTube. I'm actually doing one on Batgirl and Supergirl tomorrow, because on Crisis, if you've read Crisis, I forgot who was in here, I was reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, but in there's like Batgirl and Supergirl are actually friends. And I have another comic book where I've been editing, and so I hope my freaking computer actually works. I was editing a comic book read where Batgirl goes to the West Coast and works with Supergirl on a mission together. So it's kind of cool because, as I said, Batgirl doesn't have any powers, right? But Supergirl still thinks of Batgirl as amazing regardless, right? So she, and that's something to kind of consider as, powers. Having powers is not the thing that makes you a superhero, right? So, but in this case, we're playing with the whole idea of Felicia Hardy having Spider-Man's powers and then using it to basically burgle. With great power comes great responsibility, I suppose, right? Okay. Yo, Hardy, you left the door to your fancy schmancy penthouse unlocked. Even for a building with a doorman, that's kind of crazy. You know that Night Spider is still on the loose. Oh, I guess Felicia's gonna admit to her friend Jean here that she's the one who stole that spider, right? Yeah, Supergirl and Batgirl. Yes. Orion reviews. Yes, Supergirl and Bat. I'm doing their charts because I don't know if you guys know this, but Supergirl is a Virgo and Superman is a Pisces. And in the astrology chart, those two signs oppose each other, right? So there's a lot to be said in terms of when you create a character, these characters also have birthdays too. And so because they have birthdays, they also have an astro or blueprint that gives you some intel into things. So I kind of use fictional characters to give us intel on charts, because when you're using real charts, there's real power involved there, right? So I encourage you guys with your own charts just to be aware, have some due diligence about who you let into everything. Like if you're saying I'm a Taurus, for example, right? But my moon's in Gemini. There's certain things I encourage you know about yourself and you share, but other deeper aspects that are very unique to you, I think keep your cards close to your heart, right? Don't only share those with those you actually trust. Yes, Kara and Cal are very different. And so I look at even Crisis on Infinite Earths, the reason why they killed Supergirl, or part of the reasons why they killed Supergirl was that they wanted Superman to be the sole survivor of Krypton, right? To add more of that weight to that story. And if you think of Pisces, Pisces has a lot of like savior energy, right? So this concept of like someone being the savior for a whole people. But, you know, we're going today actually, because it's 2 a.m. here in Toronto. It's November 15th. It's a full moon in Taurus, and not just that, we've got Pluto moving into Aquarius. And so the age of Aquarius, the age of enlightenment, and like why I've been actually reading you guys comic books as well, is that stories are how we communicate everything, your inner world. I've been doing a lot of healing of my inner child, right? Revisiting my old memories and dreams that I wished for myself now, right? And going back into it and being like, hey, am I the type of person now as an adult that I dreamed I would be when I was 8, right? And like kind of like looking back at that and being like, you know what? There's still time to do that, right? I need to, pick up this week's post. Yes, I'll be back tomorrow to do some Astro tomorrow because it is a full moon. So I'll be back at noon to do some card readings with you guys. Fort Erie, very cool, Joe. I love, I'm from Winnipeg, so, and I've driven across this great country many times via driving. And so it's been really interesting to me too, just Canada holds a lot of stories in it, and you know, like these fantastical stories like comic books are ways of holding a deeper truth. And so that's kind of how I look at it. Okay, so said to Toronto. Yeah, I'm from Toronto. I'm in Toronto right now. I've been here for a little while, but we'll see. The city's changed quite a bit, and I'm kind of wanting to go back to my prairie roots a little bit. That's all. Like, I just need a bit more open spaces. That's all. And like I miss seeing like the horizon and just like the open sky and just not so many buildings, you know, like, and everywhere I look, sometimes on the balcony, there's like another crane. Are you putting up another condo? Like, we're pretty much Gotham City right now, right? And I do think there's this concept of like the archetype of like Sin City, you know, like corruption at the government level. That's why you have vigilante superheroes, right? And that's why in many cases, when you look at comic books, the line between villain and hero is very, it can be blurred sometimes, right? Because it's like sometimes those, like the powers that aren't, you're not necessarily in the right? Like it's all circumstantial and context and all that kind of stuff too, right? Okay, like in this case, like I'm going around stealing stuff, but I think we're kind of rooting for me in this situation. Okay, so yo, Hardy, you left the door to your fancy schmancy penthouse unlocked. Even for a building with a doorman, that's kind of crazy. I mean, like, even in Toronto, like, I wouldn't leave my door unlocked. Doesn't matter if I have a doorman. You know that night spider is still on the loose, and then she notices that Felicia has that relic spider in her place. Felicia... And then Felicia's sitting there with all of her loot. She's like, hey, Jean, what's up? I guess this is her way. Did she steal the Mona Lisa? Look at all the stuff she stole. She's like King Tut's. Like, what the heck? Look at all that stuff. Like, you did this all in like a matter of weeks? You're the sensational night spider. Guilty as charged. You caught me. I don't understand. Why are you doing this? I figured at least one of us should be happy. Half the fun of being a cat burglar is the thrill of it all. Remember, I'm Felicia Hardy. I'm the black cat. I like the thrill of the case. If it's all the thrill of the case, the thrill of the chase, right? So even with Spider-Man, half of why I love Spider-Man so much is because he is what do you want to say it? Corrupt cops, waste of money. 100%, you guys. So baked. Oh, good. I appreciate that. Gotta go. Oh, fun. Orion reviews. Thanks that you stepped in, and thanks for sharing your comic book intel. I always love that about this, connecting with other fellow comic book nerds, because I mean, you can't read every comic book out there, you guys. I mean, you can try, but it's very difficult. So it's far more fun too for us to like share the stories that we have read and like compare notes, right? Because as we do that, then we can discover more truths about the way this whole thing actually works, right? That's a matter of opinion, but that's what I think too. That also goes with like stories or anything like that too, because thanks, Steve. Thank you. It's like all part of the look, right? And I say like with all of my different characters that I cosplay, everything in them, from their eyes to the hair to even like the perfume and the scent, is all unique to them. So it's been fun like trying each of them on. And Felicia herself, I love her because she's got like this like easy sex appeal, and also just like, as I said, blurs the line a little bit. She's not as goody two shoes as many of my other characters that I play, right? So like just more of this like duality of character and different motivations of what you're doing in your character arc, right? Okay, so, and as I said, Felicia, I love and I agree with her, I love the thrill of the chase. It's like when you play a video game, right? It's in it, when you're in it and playing it, that's fun. Like once you get, or for example, if you think about movie trilogies, I always like book 2 or movie 2, right? Because there the action really gets going, because in book 1 or like movie 1, you have to like introduce the characters and the premise and all this kind of stuff. You have to world build. And then book 2, like you really get going. And then the third one is kind of sad because it's like, oh, it's over, we did it, but and it's happy, but it's bittersweet, right? So I kind of feel like that's part of like, you know, like there's the thrill of the pursuit, of the chase, of the quest, and then once you're there, it's like this bittersweet thing of like, well, okay, I did it, and like now what, right? And also like you kind of want other people to share in that victory with you, right? So that's why I forget that quote, like happiness needs to be shared, kind of thing. Comet the space. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Herbie. And Comet the space unicorn. Yay, I love it. Overpay for them to emancipate your will. Oh, you guys, you know, the cops here in Toronto. Oh my gosh. And so, you know what, too? Like when I used to play Gotham Knights, I have to talk about this later to you guys. So I have Game Pass on Xbox, and I was playing Gotham Knights for a little while, right? And in Gotham Knights, like, first story, the cops hate you in Gotham Knights. So, like, as Batgirl, I'm just, like, trying to help them and trying to sneak into the GCPD or whatever, and, like, they're trying to shoot at me. I'm like, what the heck? I'm trying to help you. I'm Batgirl, but, like, they don't like vigilantes, right? So, but the second story is like Game Pass freaking took Gotham Knights off it. So I'm like, I'm not paying $90 to play a game that I was already playing and I don't own it. Like, sorry. Oh my gosh. Add Herbie. I will. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'll add you. Herbie Collins, is Comet the Space Unicorn your superhero name? And this is your alter ego, like Felicia Hardy and Steal Your Money Pension Joe. You are totally right. You're totally right. So I used to work at the hospital here in Toronto. Not at UHN, so Toronto General, but not for Toronto General. I worked for like a startup tech incubator that had an office on top of the emergency room at Toronto General, which is kind of crazy. And I worked in diabetes for a while, and it's just crazy, like all these institutions, all these things. And I worked with a lot of really smart developers and creatives, and we were all in healthcare tech because you want to help people. And then you find out that, oh, look, the institution actually is more concerned about grant money and funding and not really about the patient. And so it just becomes this big disillusionment of like, oh, all of these systems that I hoped would be part of like me helping or doing my soul mission is not necessarily the case. And so I think all of that right now with all of us, it's a lot of reconfiguring, reframing, and I have a tell you what they lie. They always lie. They do. I have a whole crazy story about when me and my sister tried to go to the Emerge, and because they couldn't fax her health card, they wouldn't serve her, and she couldn't walk. It was like this horrible situation. I need to come out more with that story, but that's another time. I hate it here. Yeah, I hear you, Joe. I really do. I moved to Toronto in 2008, and I've been here a while now, right? And I've just seen it change quite a bit. And that being said, I think there's a word for this, right? Where like you have nostalgia for a place that no longer exists, because cities have changed. I feel like everywhere has kind of just become very gentrified, right? Everything kind of looks the same. I was born here in 68, Joe. So you have like probably a very, my father-in-law moved to Toronto, I think like in the 70s. And he says all the time that it was like such a different vibe out here. And even think of all the movies that were filmed here, all the creative stuff that was made here. And when I was growing up in Winnipeg, in the 80s and 90s, I wanted to come out to Toronto so bad and like be on Electric Circus and stuff, right? So now that I'm here, it's just been crazy to kind of see the city. US, same situation. Yeah, it's kind of like if you think about like the fall of Rome. If you look at it astrologically, we're in a cycle right now where it's the French Revolution, the fall of Rome, and like all this revolutionary energy. Nothing to be scared of, I think, because the old systems haven't been like, it's not like they were working anyways, right? But it is scary, right? When you have this understanding of like, I can't even buy, and no one can buy anything, right? Like no one can freaking afford anything. So this can't stand. I would stay for some Tim Hortons. I don't think Tim Hortons is even owned by Canadians anymore. I don't think. Hey, Italiano. I think Tim Hortons do. I don't know if this is true, but apparently there's like something addictive in the coffee that makes you come back. Because I will say though, Tim Hortons coffee is better than Starbucks coffee. Unless you're getting like a latte or something, Starbucks coffee does not taste good. It tastes like burnt. Aw, Joe. You know, if, depending on how old your grandchildren are, maybe I can send them something. Because I've been working on stuff to do like your own RPG sheet, your own character sheet based on your astrology as to like what superhero you actually are in this life. Which is kind of fun. I'm sorry to hear that. There's none in the States. My vendor brought you some last year. Oh, nice. Aw, thank you guys. I will say the Tim Hortons Timbits have a special place in my heart. I have a funny story about, I don't know if you guys know about Robin's Donuts, but like when we went on a road trip one time, they used to have this thing called Robin's Eggs, which are basically like Tim Hortons Timbits. But I don't know, for some strange reason in my nostalgia, I thought they were better tasting. And once me and my sister, we did this road trip from Vancouver to Toronto in October. Because she was working for Ubisoft down here. She doesn't work for them anymore. She works for EA back in Vancouver, but she stayed in Toronto for a little bit. We took this road trip to come here, and I didn't account for A, daylight savings time, B, the fact that you literally have less driving time, because we would split the driving time, so 12 hours a day of driving. We drove from like Banff to Winnipeg in one day. Because I was like, I am not staying in the prairies. I need to like not be here. Just north of Toronto. Hey, yeah. I'm done with the big city life, you guys, right? I'm a prairie girl at heart, and Toronto has become too political. Let's put it that way. That's just the way I'll put it. It's just become too political. Where before, when I first moved here, it was so much more, like I used to go dance at government and different clubs here, and like, it was just a little bit of a different vibe. I used to bartend and stuff, so I feel bad for kids coming up and trying to get jobs in the city right now, because it's as I said, it's just all way too political and stuff. I love driving. I had to drive from Colorado to California. Oh, I love driving too. You get a good playlist and you're good to go. Yeah. I was in Calgary, but it was bad for a while. Yeah, I like Calgary though. Sargent, Big Sexy. Great name. Yeah, just simple stuff. I know you get tired of the city. Yeah, I don't. I'm over this city. But I do feel like, you guys, I don't know how to put it this way, but I do feel like I have a mission here. I was called to do something in this city. And I will say, you guys, that there is something very special about this country. I'm going to share with you guys, since many of you are Canadians, before I continue this. Oh my goodness. Where are you? I have too many comic books, you guys. 1 second. Is it this one? No. That. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Fun. Maybe the Catwoman nails would do. Okay. So, I'm from the prairies, you guys. Have you guys seen this? L'Oreal. It's a comic book. A comic strip biography about L'Oreal. Because I'm from St. Boniface. I was born in St. Boniface, which is actually the same place that L'Oreal was born. And he died in 1885, and I was born in 1985. So I just have some connections with Mr. L'Oreal. And there's some cool stuff in here, right? So, for example, in Winnipeg, right, back when Canada was, like, starting to be created and stuff, they already had Métis living out in Winnipeg before the Canadian government came in and was like, hey, come join. So they had divvied up their land like this, where, like, each person has part of the river, right? You want to have a water source. But then the Canadian government came in and was like, hey, we're just going to turn everything into squares, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, what a crazy thing about this government. There's been, and John A. Macdonald, not a very nice guy, but it's kind of cool how the whole L'Oreal story, like, Chester Brown turned this into a comic book. And so reading through this, I grew up in Winnipeg, was really trippy because all of the same locations, I'm like, Lagimodiere and, like, all these places, the Assiniboine River, I'm like, oh my gosh, I grew up there, and I have a lot of memories there too, playing with my friends. Yeah, I bowed out before I was hit. Oh my gosh, Joe, what I'm missing here. I worked from 8 years old, Joe. I feel you. Hustle. What's your sign, by the way? Do you have what's your astrological sign? I'm just curious, because I feel like there's certain, so I'm a Taurus, and I was talking to another girlfriend of mine who's a Taurus, and I will say this is true maybe for other earth signs. So if you're a Virgo or a Capricorn, or maybe some fixed signs as well. So this idea of, I'll just do it myself. Right? So, like, I can't necessarily trust anybody to do the job. So I'll work extra. I'll work for other people too. I'll keep working till the end. But, like, it's almost to, like, a point of being your detriment. So, like, a level of, like, trying to find out a way to, like, take rest so that you keep people around you who can, like, hold the line while you do so, right? Oh my goodness. Don't get me started on Wetiko women, like girls or women who I try to, like, so I've been married for 10 years, you guys, right? And there's nothing I love more than being a wife. I've always, like, it's a thing that, like, for women to know, like, part of your role here is to support the man you love. Like, I'm not, like, I'm a very strong, independent woman and all that kind of stuff too, but there's a weird thing with women where, like, I don't know, there's just a very strange thing, like, where, I don't know, expectation, entitlement. I was talking to my girlfriend, and I feel she lost her hubby, actually, and she lives out in Miami now, but I used to personal train her here in Toronto. But we were talking about how, like, girls need to just loosen up a little bit. Stop being so freaking uptight about everything. And just, how should I say this? Like, power as a woman is not the same as power as a man. And so, no joke, she had an affair. I'm so sorry, Joe. I hope for you, any of you who have ever, and this goes for men and women, if you've ever been, because this is in the stars right now as well, if you've ever been in a relationship where you've been betrayed, so whether or not you've been cheated on or lied to or misrepresented or any of that kind of stuff, And regardless of this, right, like, it's still hard to walk away from relationships that have hurt you. Just because, you or like, for me in some of my breakups where I'm like, oh, the person I thought you were doesn't actually exist because you were basically lying to me about who you were. And that's hard, right? Because it's almost like someone died, because this facade, this image that you've created for them is now like tarnished and like thrown away because of any kind of betrayal. But I do encourage all of you guys to, in spite of those kinds of things, to separate that individual's betrayal from like potentiality of future love coming your way, right? And learning how to also forgive yourself. And I've had to do this, like, forgive yourself for being had or tricked, and thinking that I should have known better in terms of like guarding my heart. But at the same time, if you guard your heart so closely, you don't ever have it open up to the person who maybe is supposed to be for you, right? So I hope that that you're able to work through any kind of betrayals, come out of it smarter, but still have your heart be light enough that it can accept the love that it's supposed to have. Okay. I'm so sorry, Joe. I hope there's karma for all of those things, right? There's reckoning for all those things. I truly, truly do believe that. So, and as I said, even all those things that you've done that are good, right? That you think no one knows about, the universe knows. And there's a way of the scales and everything balancing each other out. Oh, good. And my computer's working again. So with that, let's keep going, friends. Okay. I figured at least one of us should be happy. Half the fun of being a cat burglar was the thrill of it all. But ever since I took that idol, it cursed me with spider powers. That's all gone. Everything is way too easy now. See? Because maybe I'm not supposed to have powers. But I mean, this is this world, right? So she's like, oh my gosh. Stealing things is way too easy. Where's the thrill? Maybe you should try saving the world, girl. You may as well take me away, pal. This way you'll get your collar, and who knows, maybe breaking out of the world's best prisons will keep me amused for however long that lasts. So she's turning herself in. I love this. I'm turning myself in because I'm bored of getting away with it. And maybe if you put me in jail, I can like break out of prison, and that can be my new fun thing to do. And so her friend here is just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening, but that won't stop me from doing my job. Felicia Hardy, you are under arrest. And for once, you do not get to land on your own feet, even on the ceiling. Felicia Hardy of Earth 194. Oh, Spiderverse stuff. Oh, look. Someone's come through a portal. I love portals, you guys. Look at that. You're needed in a completely hopeless cause. The entire Spiderverse is in danger. We need someone who can pull off the greatest heist in history. Ooh. So she was just about to I was just about to turn myself in. And look, the multiverse needs me. I never said I'm a guy who was in all-boys school. Joe, me too. Well, not an all-boys school, but I went to an all-girls school, all-girls high school. St. Mary's Academy in Winnipeg. It's funny, too, because I made friends with some girls who went to the high school across the street from me, who used to throw snowballs at us when we were, like... we were kind of... You know what? I will say this. Like, I was fine. I thought it was okay. My upbringing was fine. We had a great drama program, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, I went to school with, like, my family was not super well off, but they put a lot of emphasis on education, right? So, I won't get into that too much, but I understand what that's all about. Like, the whole, girls can be catty. And I don't know, like, that being said, though, we did do stuff with the all-boys school, St. Paul's, and so that almost caused more drama, having girls all together fighting over boys, like, silly. Okay. So just as Felicia was trying to, oh, hey Natasha, thanks for that. Yes, graduation came. I never understand that other half. Oh yeah. You know what though? I don't think women even understand ourselves. I think that's the biggest folly of all of us, right? Is to know yourself. And also knowing yourself when you're effing with yourself, right? And I tell this to all of you guys, right? Only you can F with you. People can only F with you if you allow it. And so, like, when a betrayal happens, I say there's two things that happen, right? You need to forgive yourself for falling for it, and you can forgive the other person, because I do believe everyone does things, like, they're trying to just do it for their own interests, right? It just so happens that sometimes your heart gets in the way, I suppose. To thine own self be true. That's true. And to know thyself, because that is true power. Because then you know when you start doing some messed up ish and you start tricking yourself, and then you just go like, okay, wait, I'm not gonna like self-sabotage, right? So it's kind of what Felicia was doing here. She's like, I'm gonna turn myself in and create a problem for myself, create a challenge for myself for me to overcome it. So that's something that's a tell for you guys too. Because think of it this way. If life is a video game, if life is a game, if life is a game, thanks, Joe. And if we all chose to come here and we're divine, infinite beings living a finite existence, then any challenge that you have in your life is one that you have chosen to undertaken for you to get to know yourself on a deeper level, or to unlock yourself, right? Because swords are not sharpened just sitting around eating pastries. They're honed in the fire, being beaten and challenged and all that kind of stuff. So it's through the honing, the practice, through the challenge that, yes, saving ourselves from ourselves. Seriously, yeah, it's a crazy. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Revolver. Rob Lowe is in it, and so is, oh my goodness, Jason Statham, and Andre 3000. I recommend you guys watch it. Actually, maybe we'll do a watch of it this weekend with you guys. I'm sorry, I'm not just living right, Joe. I wouldn't say that, right? I would be, don't. Because who gets to say what's living right, right? Like, sometimes people come on here and they're just like, oh my gosh, you're almost 40 years old and you're like dressing up in cosplay and reading comic books. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're almost 40 years old and all you've ever done is work 9 to 5. You know, like, people have different perspectives, and I've never lived my life according to what other people wanted or expected. I never understood that. So, like, to me, it's just like, if someone's doing something that maybe I don't agree with, that's fine. It doesn't really affect me any. It only bothers me if, like, you're trying to tell me what to do. Because I'm fine with you do, like, as long as it's, like, you know, live and let live situation, right? Yet I'm always in a great place. Good. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, there's also a level of, aw, thanks. Thanks, Comet and Herbie. And, you know, it's, all I'll say is this, is that I've personally, and this is me talking as Rachel Z underneath the Felicia Hardy, part of me it's taken me a long time to finally be like, oh, I'm a psychic person. I have dreams that come true, right? I don't, like, and that has, like, taken me so long to kind of be like, oh, is that what I am? I was talking to my friend Aria about this, because she's like, well, you know, like, it's one of those things, like, now as many of us are coming online or awakening to maybe additional human powers that we haven't had before, right? Like, intuitiveness or clairvoyance or telekinesis or whatever. Oh, thank you. So I feel like, for you guys, we are all functioning as, like, keys for other people, and other people are functioning as keys for us, right? In our relationships, in books we read, right? Because someone had to author this, someone had to write it, someone had to make it, and then you, in catching that art, are creating then a battery, a connection between you and the person who threw it out there. Which is why I tell you guys, I encourage you, like, whatever your art is it poetry, is it painting, is it conversation, is it planning events, is it any of whatever that is that you know, like, you in your heart of hearts, or know that, like, you're really good at and you're meant to do it, pursue that with your whole heart, because it's one of those things where literally no one else can be you. And I'll put it this way, like when I used to do drama or putting on a stage show, oh, Natasha, thanks for the lights. Yeah, I like to put it as a stage show. This is actually a good way to kind of like look at astrology, but I will do that after I finish this reading. I fear the man I feel like it's, you think of yourself as a story, you think of yourself as a comic book. That's why I read in cosplay as a character in the comic book, right? Because as I read out Felicia Hardy, I try to feel, embody what it's like to like wear that character, right? Why she makes the decisions that she makes. And in this case too, like Jean here, who is her detective person, who I thought was Jean Grey, it's not Jean Grey, who's arresting her, why she decides to be friends with her, but then turn herself in because she's interested in the thrill. And I can relate to that with Felicia. I can tell you many times where I've made decisions just because it's just kind of like, I've never done that before. So I'll try it. And when you're younger, you can get away with some stuff like that, right? Because I moved out to Toronto, you guys, with 2 suitcases, and I had no idea what the heck I was going to do, right? I got a job like bartending and go-go dancing, and I built a whole life here out of nothing. I feel like it's harder right now if you were like 23 like I was and like doing the same thing, but at the same time you gotta, like, that little spark in your heart that tells you just like you gotta just do it. That part I can relate to, right? And part of it for me has always just been like, well, you're only here to live once, so I might as well feel what that feels like. Go for it. Which is why, like, when it comes to man, and I relate to Felicia in this, if like my husband, when I saw him, I knew I was going to marry him. So I ask boys out, right? I like to be the pursuer in certain things because, that's just my jam. And I try to tell girlfriends of mine a lot of girls, when my friends come to me for relationship advice, mainly because I've been in a relationship for almost 20 years. Been married for 10 of it. But I was not always good in relationships. I was not always a good girl. But I have realized that, like, my exes in the past, the heartbreak, the pain, all of that grief that I've gone through was for me to be ready for this relationship and to be the wife that I knew that I could be. And I'm truly happy being, right? Avoiding surgery or health problems, always the big supervillain. You know what? Health is definitely one of those things, right? It's don't know who they are, the one to be able to, yeah. And you know what, Natasha? It's actually, I think it's not as easy as it sounds when you say to follow your heart. Right? And it's not as easy as it sounds to follow your dreams, because when I was working in corporate, right, I used to work for KPMG here. I can say that now because I'm out of the NDA. I used to work on like 33 Bay Street, which nothing creepy about that. But mostly from home, right? Because it's at that time. But I'll tell you, when I was working in corporate, I started to have dreams that were not my own. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, because like promotions, I don't care. Like, to be promoted, to like get a big bonus, to all these kinds of things. In the end, like, that's nice, but it's not something that should trump my bigger goals, right? Like my goal, like writing a book or writing a comic book or performing on stage again. All these kind of like other goals that my heart desires or my heart longs for was not incongruent. Like, that has nothing to do with getting the next promotion at some corporate firm, right? But I let that at the time, because of the environment I was in, get to me. And it was kind of like a blessing in disguise when the universe, like, I walked away from it. That's a story for another time, because I was a global relationship manager, and I worked with 137 countries across the world. And so I got to realize just how much more alike we are as a human species. And so I love to refer to myself as an earthling. We are the kings and queens of the kingdom of Earth. This planet is our birthright. This planet is our home. We are guardians. We are stewards of the earth. We should stop fighting over each other, over stupid stuff. Like, that's all I gotta say about stuff. Okay, guys, let's keep on going with the comic book read. And that's why I say, like, I honestly, like, my dad's South African and my mom's Filipino. So I truly cannot choose, like, am I South African or am I Filipino? My husband is also Maltese, right? So when we have, we are in the Spiderverse, Andrew, yes. And that's a great segue back into the comic book that I am actually reading. I went off on a whole tangent. So we are reading the Spiderverse. I am your host, Black Cat, Felicia Hardy. And where we are so far, Natasha, thank you for all the love and the hearts and the roses. I appreciate. And Natasha, I love your name, by the way. Like, whenever I see names, I always see, like, characters that you could possibly play, right? And Natasha and your namesakes, the others who hold your name, right? So Natasha, I think of, like, Black Widow, right? Natasha's got that whole, I always think of, like, badass, like, warrior ballet dancers when I think of Natasha. Something like that. Because, like, I think Black Widow also, like, studied in ballet. I did ballet too. I wasn't as good as ballet, but I am trained. Okay, so where we are so far in this particular reading is Felicia Hardy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Black Cat, but she exists in the Spider-Man universe. She doesn't typically have powers besides her, like, ability that she was given as a secondary mutation to give you bad luck. But I'm the opposite, Black Cat. I give you good luck instead. But in this case, she's been bitten by this, like, ancient relic spider, which has now given me superpowers. So I'm a cat burglar, and I've been going around stealing stuff, and now things have just become way too easy because I've got powers. I can walk on the walls, I can evade all of, like, the traps because of my spider senses. So things are just too easy, so I've turned myself in. So as I'm turning myself in, a portal opens. Dun, 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 dun. And then we have another spider family, I'm going to call it the Spider Fam, from a different part of the cosmos, who needs me to perform the greatest heist. I feel like they should make this a movie. Maybe we can pitch it. Okay. You're needed in a completely hopeless cause. The entire Spiderverse is in danger, and we need someone who can pull off the greatest heist in history. Joe, you sound like House. You know the show? I love the show House. If you guys remember that show, Dr. House, and that opening with, like, Enigma on it, and he always says, like, everyone lies. That's the thing. It's true though, for the most part. The point is though, like, this whole Hugh Laurie is love. Silver Sable. Oh, yes, I actually know who Silver Sable is, Adam. I know who you're talking about. Oh yeah, Joe, I'm on my way of leaving Ontario. Don't worry. I have to figure out a couple things first though. And I do want to. I'm working on a short film called. I've been trying to get it up on Indiegogo this week. I've run into some snafus, but tomorrow's a full moon, so maybe tomorrow will be the day. But it's called Escape from District 6. And in Indiegogo, you can have I'll find a way for you guys to, if you want to be in it, you can be in it too, because the way I'm editing it is that it's supposed to be very meta, like it's real life. And all of us live in district cities. Kind of feels like it right now if you're in a big city. If you watched Highlander 2, remember, like, the dome that they have, right? To kind of keep everyone in. Yes, Wilraza, Black Cat. And I got the mask on this time. Who said hello? Nice to meet you. Rubena Bino 4. Hello, nice to meet you too. Welcome to the live. Okay, so I'm going to continue the reading, and then we'll close off with a little bit more stuff. Oh yes, thanks TJ. Okay. Joe, I would say tomorrow, because it's a full moon, you could do almost like a what do you want to call it? Cord cutting ceremony kind of thing, you know, in yourself, like energetic cords kind of stuff, where, you know, like where you've given your power away. We've all done this, where you've given too much away to perhaps people who don't deserve it. But you know what? You can call your power back to yourself and be like, energetically cut those cords so they're not siphoning that freaking energy off you any further. Okay, guys, let's keep going. Okay. The entire Spiderverse is in danger, and we need someone who can pull off the greatest heist in history. Sounds like something. This sounds like a job for the Black Cat. Well, Raza, yeah, I know he's going through something in terms of like exes. But I will say, Joe, like try to like keep yourself in like a where focus goes, energy flows, right? So try to keep your focus onto what, not to love and light everything, because I hate that too, where you like overdo, like everything's fine, but to just kind of focus on like the path and ways of moving forward, right? Would you like for me to, can you actually hear me though? Do you need me to do the sound test? Red Ranger, oh my gosh. Red Ranger Fury, I had such a crush on the Red Ranger back in the day, so I'll do it. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. Did you say a completely hopeless cause? I'm in. Don't you dare, Hardy. Sorry, Jean. Your cuffs weren't my size. Don't worry, I'll bring you something nice. Oh my gosh. How am I going to write this up? So she just jumped into a portal because the entire Spiderverse needs her to pull off a heist. Okay. Oh no. Is that how it ends? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And now we have Spider-Gwen. So I'll read some Spider-Gwen because I love her. Okay. Okay, so 7 a.m. Wakey, Earth 346. So now we're not in a different Earth. Basically, 8:30 a.m. off to school. 12:45 p.m. lunchtime, fun time. 3 o'clock p.m. school's out. Help! Somebody help me! 3:01 a.m. This is Spider-Gwen's universe, right? Hero time. I like the... this is like almost like an anime spider. I love it. I'm Sakura Spider. My life changed 2 years ago when I went to the Science Museum with my parents. Blah, blah, blah. Radioactive spider bite. Blah, blah, blah. Spider powers. I'm sure you know how this story goes. I wish it had ended there. Who's there? Hail Hydra. Oh my gosh, who the heck is that? Hail Hydra's pretty sketch, man, you guys. Bwam. No! Dad! Hakura, run. Stab. Come on, Hakura. Ah! Oh God, oh God, oh God, it's me. They're after me. Huff, huff. Splash. I couldn't move. All these powers, and I couldn't. Why? My fault. My fault he died. Hakura. He died protecting you. Fulfilling his responsibility as your father. You're always saying that. With great power must also come great responsibility. Yep, that's my philosophy. But what does it mean? One day, you'll understand. Great power, it's not about how strong you are. It's about what you do. Now, it's my turn to fulfill my responsibility. Grit. To save people, like your dad. More than that, to inspire people like my dad. I'll become... Da-na-na. Oh my gosh, I can't flip the page with my claws. I got it! Yay! A hero! Yay! Thank you, Sakura Spider. Why do you do it? Why do you save us? I'm a hero. That's what we do. No, it's because my own hero once told me, with great power there must also come great responsibility. So this is the Sakura Spider. The outfit's okay, but a hoodie? Seriously? You're Madam Web. You say you're a hero. We need all the heroes we can get. Come with me. The fate of every spider is at stake. Ooh. Okay, so that's actually related to the number 3. Does Felicia come back? Does this actually resolve itself in any kind of way? I don't think it does. That's... What happened to the great heist that is needed? I guess that's what happens with all of like the different universes, that they all kind of exist. It's almost like Madam Web is going to the different... So I don't know if they did that in the movie. I'm pretty sure they didn't. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But like here it almost seems like Madam Web's going to like the different Spider-Verses and recruiting the different skills of the different Spider-Men. Captain America. Let me look it up now that my computer is working. I know it's useful for everything but the page flipping. But you know what? The art in here is really nice. Like I actually really like. I prefer the illustrations that like look like illustrations. I don't like it as much when it kind of looks like CG. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. And who's this guy? Like, who are you? The Hunter Spider. Jameson demanded theatrics to awe the populace. So I give the... Okay, so he's like a version of Spider-Man. Oh my gosh, interesting. Ooh, and I love all the little costumes at the back. This is fun. There might be some opportunity for me to make my own spider cosplay from like the different versions of the Spider-Verse here. I love that. Okay, so this deserves a little bit more exploration. Thank you guys for joining me. I think that takes care of Felicia Hardy's version of the Black Cat in this Edge of the Spider-Verse. I'm trying to find another comic with, I don't know if the story in here with the Noir Spider-Man talks about it. I'll come back to it. But thank you guys. I haven't done Marvel in a little while, and I've wanted to... I have wanted to basically... How should I put this? I'm going to take these off for like just a second because I just want to find something quickly about Felicia Hardy. Because she got another power and I wanted to talk about that specifically. So she's Earth 616, but she was in a different Earth in this multiverse comic book. And here's a quote. I'm not a hero. I'm a thief. Born a thief. Raised a thief. I will die a thief. Yeah, so the true award is not in the bounty, but in the act of stealing itself. I first crossed paths with Spider-Man while attempting to free my dying father from prison. So here we go. A pirate. Yeah, a pirate is good too. I love pirates, by the way. One Piece. I wanted to get to what her powers are. Oh yes. Felicia made up the black cat to get Spider-Man's attention. I'm going to just mute you for a little bit. Joe, because I think I triggered Joe with, because like I was saying, I was from Toronto, which basically has its own issues when it comes to things, right? But I wanted to talk to you guys about Black Cat's powers because, where are we? Okay, I'm going to read you guys what happens here, how she gets her secondary powers. Despite her she doesn't like men very much after a certain point, Felicia. But I do feel a kinship with Spider-Man and felt like I could trust him. But Spider-Man's a good guy, so how could you not trust Spidey? So Felicia, I looked for a way to earn his trust, so I continued with the Black Cat persona as a misguided attempt to attract his affection. However, I was still cunning enough to fake mental instability when captured, ensuring I was housed in a less secure facility. When she was released, Felicia initially agreed to go straight for Spider-Man, and the web slinger even had his friend on the force, Captain DeWolf. So Captain DeWolf, that's the Jean that was trying to capture her. So let me just... Jean DeWolf. Okay. She loves Spider-Man too. Daughter of New York City Police Inspector Philip DeWolf. So, interesting. She's kind of like, I don't know what character I'd kind of call her. But has she been done? Yeah, no worries, guys. I try to, I want people to be able to have this as being, a place to, be themselves, of course. But I do also want, this is comic books too, right? About the truth in comic books. And also, elevating the art form. That's the way I'm going to put it. Because, as I said, the cosplays I do, they are all directly inspired by comic books. Because think about it, illustration and drawing is such a magical act. On the show last night, my friend Joanne, Tiny Aphrodite, she was saying oh, what would happen if you took, let's say, this is a good opportunity to show you what I'll be reading you guys next too. One sec. Let's see. Where are you? Where's that other comic book? This one? Where's my Superman one? Oh, here you go. Okay. All right. So tomorrow, oh yes. Tomorrow Supergirl is going to be back because I realized too that I read you guys the Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow here because it follows up Crisis on Infinite Earths in terms of after Supergirl dies. Because Supergirl comes back with the Legion to visit Superman here. And she's from the 30th century, so she doesn't know that she's dead. And so it's kind of this really heart-wrenching scene where Superman reconnects with Supergirl. And it's a time travel kind of thing. But I've also realized I didn't read the end of the story. So I will, that's tomorrow. Now, as far as Marvel goes for next, today I did the Spiderverse, Felicia Hardy, right? I will be back, so tomorrow's Friday, full moon, so I'm going to be doing a finish off Alan Moore's Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow and Promethea. Ooh. Brought back a red band on a Wolfie. Ooh, nice. Oh, no worries. Sorry. Oh, yes. I love Kara, too. I love bringing back Kara. And Kara's good. Do you know what I mean? She's like Superman and the Soup family is good. If this was an RPG, right? Orderly good kind of thing, right? And Felicia, Black Cat, they're more of the characters that are neutral or chaotic neutral. Can you be chaotic neutral? I don't know, but you know what? It's just a bit more of a different type of hero, right? Let's see. They're worth, if you want to actually read them. In magazines, I know there's first editions and what, oh yeah, what they're worth. Yeah, I was reading, actually, I saw this thing on YouTube by someone who was saying that, like, everyone thought the Death of Superman comic book would be worth a ton of money, but now it's like actually not worth a lot. And I guess I'm not as familiar with it because I own comic books, but I don't collect them as like monetary value. I have them because of the stories. To own the stories, to own it in like real paper is like a thing for me. And that's the thing about comic books and books themselves. Like, they can sit on your bookshelf for forever, sit in the library, and they're only activated upon reading them, right? And I've found that even in reading you guys comic books out loud, even though it's a comic book that I've read multiple times in the reading that I do with you guys, it always ends up being something unique and special. They could have been worth at least 1 million. Are comic books worth more? I'm assuming it's like toys as well, or collectors, right? That they're worth more if they're not read. Like, I have ones that are very read and they're falling apart as a result of the reread. So I'm assuming that you probably want to get 2 comics, one you keep pristine and one you actually read, I suppose. Wolverine Revenge. Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds spicy. I love that. Because, I mean, Marvel does have stories that are a bit more lighthearted in nature, but then if you deal with characters that can go beyond death, right? They can come with certain truths or certain stories that only, like, their types of characters can go through and therefore tell, right? Oh, thanks, Rostar X. Thank you for being here to receive that appearance. At least read what you love because you paid. Oh, are you talking about the Crisis? The difference in magazine, the first editions, and they're not all worth. Oh, I do read. I read all of them. I always read everything. I read everything. Things, like, they go unactivated unless they do. And I do think you guys, like, this is a message from my own dreamland for you guys. And you can resonate with it. You don't have to resonate with it. It's fine. But I do think, like, let's say, so this is the comic book, one of the comic book storylines that I read first. So I started with comic books when I was a teen with Marvel, and I came to DC maybe later. But this comic book is Avengers versus X-Men. Ooh, so that's going to be the weekend comic book read, you guys. And I'm going to do a few cosplays for this, a few Marvel ones, because I'm going to try to do some Marvel versus Capcom remakes, right? Like Jean Grey versus Chun-Li. I don't know how that would even work, but we'll see what happens. Don't say you have a bad heart, sorry, you guys. The death of Jean DeWolf was before my time, but I remember seeing that story arc. That's so crazy, Adam, you bring it up, because like that, saying that out loud, I'm like, that doesn't even sound familiar at all. I didn't even know about that story arc until now. And let alone that Jean and Felicia are like good friends, right? Collectibles, worse, supply and demand, deal period, oh, the right buyer, that kind of stuff. Thanks, Sergeant Big Sexy. I'm here. Oh, thanks, sorry. You know what, you guys? I will say this. I'm 39 years old. I'm turning 40 next year, okay? Don't say that, sorry. And I don't, like, I was getting into trouble last time about saying certain things on TikTok, so don't say that, because, I used to volunteer for things like the Kids Help Phone and like suicide hotlines and that kind of stuff. And I found that a lot of these systems, they didn't do a great job of actually helping people when they need it, because at the end of the day, like, as someone who has gone through some dark times in my life too, that these stories, these comic books, these characters have done a lot to pull me out of it. right? Like, yeah, like you in your own head and like reading a story, and like as these words like come towards you, it's like it interfaces with you, and like something like clicks, something is connected. Like, for example, you'll have this Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is the first comic book I read, you guys, live on TikTok. We're gonna revisit it, and that man, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, is the follow-up, because at the time they thought that it potentially could be the last Superman comic book, right? So keeping that in mind, there is something special like at the time you write something, right? So at the time something is published, like Dune, for example, which was written in the 60s, or The Crow, even, that was written in the 80s, or any of these movie franchises, or anything that was created and put out there into the public morphogenetic field, right? So all of these certain stories for you personally, in the being you are going to have resonance with you, right? There are many books, there are many stories that I'm just like, meh, not interested, right? And that's fine. Like, just like many cosplay characters, because there's a lot that I will never cosplay as. Like, I don't care to ever cosplay as, let's see, who would I never cosplay as? Watch me say that, and then like later on I'm like, you know what, maybe I would. Harley Quinn, that's a good one, because I don't relate to that character at all, and I don't feel like putting on the energy of that character. Not to say I don't like Harley Quinn, right? I just think that for me personally, I don't, meh, right? I love Batgirl, right? So I'll play as Batgirl, and I'll find a friend who maybe likes playing as Harley Quinn, and we can play that way. But I feel like for you, you're going to have very specific characters that you love and gravitate towards, and in those characters' story arcs, the trials and tribulations they go through, where you have resonance, you're going to have keys for yourself in your own game of life, right? The Brandon Lee Crow, Andrew Snyder, I love Brandon Lee so much, you guys. So fun fact, I'll come back to that in just a second. Swamp Thing is great. Ivy, I love Poison Ivy. I would do Poison Ivy, because she loves nature and stuff, right? And she's just, you know, I like Black Canary too. I do. My sister would make a great Huntress, I think. I think. And fun fact, right? Like, Huntress in one version of the multiverse in DC is actually Helena Wayne, which is the daughter of Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, right? So it's kind of like, that's why you have the multiverse. And as I said, I'm not as familiar with Marvel. This venture into the Spiderverse was probably, besides X-Men, one of the first times that I delved into the fact that you have like Earth 616 and like Earth 5001. So I'm not quite as familiar with how those are mapped and interact. So I will do some research, and this weekend when we read this comic, which is Avengers versus X-Men, I wonder, who do you have winning Avengers versus X-Men? I actually have the X-Men winning, I think, if I had to choose. Although I feel like Cyclops versus Captain America, that Captain America would win. So we can have some fun little pair-ups between the two. And in the same vein, I'm also doing some Capcom versus Marvel, if you ever played that video game. I'm trying to source it so I can play the video game as a character in the game. X-Men all the way. So many variables with the powers, right? So yeah, right? Because when I did Phoenix and Scarlet Witch, I was like, is Scarlet Witch an Avenger or an X-Men if she's the daughter of Magneto? I always go with Wolverine when he's involved. You know, Wolverine is like a wild card, right? If you have him on your side. But this is, ooh, some of the panels here are gorgeous. Look at, I love how this, I think that's Emma Frost. Some of the really nice art in here. Oh, look at this. Scarlet Witch looking bomb. Is that Logan? Wanda, sweetheart, Tony here. Tony? Why does he look like Wolverine? Okay, what the heck? Maybe something's going on here that I don't know about. This is an intense read. This is going to take a couple go-throughs, I think, just like Crisis. But we do have the Avengers Assemble with our fun Cap. I do have a female version of Captain America I will do for part of this, I think. But definitely Phoenix Force will do some of the read of this as well, and we can look into it, because that's something that hasn't actually really been done, like the Avengers versus the X-Men situation. My money is on the Avengers. One of my favorites is Captain America. Ruben, I love Cap too. He's like what probably in Marvel one of my favorite characters. Just so like integrity and good, and like just like that line, right, about standing by the river of truth like a tree when the whole world is against you, and like following your heart, which is something I really... Wolverine's counterpart on Avengers. Great question, Adam. Who... Oh, look at this little... Look at these... Oh my gosh, the art in here. I'm like squealing. X-23. I love X-23. So you got all of those. Like, well, you know what? In time for the weekend read, I'm going to have maybe a whiteboard along with this, and we can map out all of the characters, and we can give them like rankings, right? And we can maybe do like a... Yeah, that could be kind of fun. Let me see if I can figure that out for the weekend. I'll have that scheduled in there. So the weekend will be all over the place. I won't know exactly timing wise. It'll depend on how much the cosplay takes. But we will definitely get through this read on the weekend. Tomorrow, however, Kara Zor-El will be back. I'm going to leave it with a story about Bruce Lee in just a second. Oh my gosh. Yeah, read the outcome. Tigra, oh my gosh. Tigra, oh my gosh. I have a girlfriend of mine who does an amazing Tigra. She doesn't live anywhere near me though. Rose, sorry. I love that you brought Wolverine clone. Cap does have a healing factor. Oh, great point, Adam. That's a great point. And as I said too, Marvel does love clones, right? They love cloning, having different versions of people, that kind of stuff. You know what though, like, yeah, we'll read the outcome of how they put it, but in the same vein, we'll maybe have our own, like we used to do Final Fantasy football, but we can do like Final Fantasy, like superhero games or something, right? And then like, if you were to pit the counterparts against each other, like Catwoman versus Black Cat, who would win? And I think based on the fact that Black Cat actually has some superpowers, maybe Black Cat would win. Or maybe I'm just a little bit biased because I am Black Cat. Squadron Supreme versus Avengers is pretty even. I actually read you guys before here the Eternals versus the X-Men, and the Avengers were kind of like in the middle, trying to be like peacekeepers to some degree. But the reason for that fight was the... you guys know that the X-Men figure out the whole resurrection thing through Hope Summers. And when they do this, the Eternals get very threatened because they're like, oh my gosh, we're not the only immortals. They're the new gods. Oh my gosh, Psylocke is another one. I'm working on her cosplay. Her cosplay might be ready for this weekend, but I don't think she's in this comic book. However, Psylocke is a perfect comic book to do the Sorcerer Supreme stuff or any of the stuff with Rachel Summers, because Psylocke is actually, like, it's in her name. She's got psychic powers too, and related to Merlin and Captain Britain and all that kind of fun stuff. So, oh, okay, good. We have the list of our cast and crew. So what I'll do is, you guys, for the weekend, I think she's with Forge. Who's with Forge? Let me see. Go back here. Psylocke. Ooh, yeah. There's a YouTube channel called Death Battle. Okay, let me look into that. So, let me look into it right now. Because I just want to see is, when they do the Death Battle, is it like a conversation or do they do like an animation? Death Battle. Web series. Battle boarding. Who would win in a fight? Yes. How does this work? Ooh, I like this. Okay, let's see how do they... Guts versus Dimitri. I like Guts. Berserk. I love, ooh, I'm working on some choreography fights with myself. It's a bit more complicated when you're fighting you, by the way. Okay, so they do cuts. Okay. Okay, so there's some opportunity here for me to like try to do some of these fights in real life and see what happens. So, and they talk about the, oh yeah, so just to check, it's actually pretty cool. Thank you for that recommendation. I'm going to subscribe to them. Maybe I can do a collab with them. There might be a possibility there. I'm trying to connect with my other fellow nerd creators out there because I'm getting a lot. Like, I come from a modeling background, so I have a lot of friends of mine who are models, fitness models, but know nothing about cosplay, know nothing about these characters, but I can help. I can help sew the outfits, I can help with the makeup and the hair and all that. And I do know these characters very, very well, so I've been actually picking out some of my friends to be specific characters to try to act out certain things. Catwoman and Black Cat was done. Ooh. Okay, let's see here. We'll find that, and then I will maybe do a video featuring that video. How about that? That'd be good. Sun did Thomas Wayne against Killmonger. Ooh. Oh my gosh, I love that we're all nerding out together about this. Thank you for that, Rose Star. I think everyone appreciates the recommendation. Here, how do I find time, Matt Morales, how do you find time to read consistently? You know what, how should I put it? Everyone, and this is why sharing stories helps for you guys, right? Because all the comic books that are out there, literally impossible, right? To get to read all of them. That's why, like, each of us in our own arsenal, our own backstories, all the stories you've ever been told, ever read, in our retelling to others, it has its own spin to it and life to it. So the time that I have to read consistently is more just like, I just listen to myself, right? If nothing is a chore. Same thing goes with like the gym for me, right? Or like, oh, I go to the gym just because I go to the gym, and I don't really even think about it. It's just part of like what I do. And same thing goes for reading or anything. I encourage all of you guys to make dates with yourself as important as dates that you keep with other people or like work, right? So making an appointment with yourself to like have a bath or like have a sauna or divinate or like work out or all these like I'll call them like sacred rituals to yourself, which includes reading, right? Which, because I think of that as like nourishment for your spiritual self, right? Because as these heroes, especially characters that you love, triumph, go through really, really messed up stuff and then come out the other end, and through perseverance, through working at it, through friendship, through a lot of these life lessons, they're able to overcome and, you know, win, right? And through that, we also in ourselves can cultivate things like inspiration and hope and realization that we are not alone, even though we have to walk our path ourselves. There's help. There really is help. But you still have to take the steps. You still have to learn the moves. You still have to do the thing, right? It doesn't take away your responsibility, but it does take away, it just means that, like, you know, when you're going on a mission, you're going on a quest, so much more fun when you have your friends with you on the way, right? And it can get a little hairy at times, right? And that's why you have superhero teams that have conflicts and go through these things, because through, it's like almost aspects of yourself going through it as they go through it. And you're like, oh, wait, like, parts of me that feel jealous or parts of me that are resentful that I'm not the leader, or like, how come I don't have these powers, or this kind of stuff. Like, those all are like, oh yeah, superhero problems, but they do relate, have allegories and metaphors to things that we go through in our mundane, ordinary lives, right? And plus it's art. Love art. Yeah, exactly. Remember when I was younger, I would turn the pages as slowly as possible to try to make them last longer. Oh my gosh, Wolverine, I love that. I can't tell you, like, sometimes there's stories that I'll reread, and there'll be parts in the story that are really hard, right? When there's, like, let's say a death of a character or something happens where there's a betrayal. Like, something happens in the story that's just hard to go through, right? And, you know, it's just funny. Like, even though you read it, like, 5 million times, you come back to that same part, and you're like, maybe this time he won't die. You hope, like Titanic. Like, it's just like, I don't know. It's like when you're playing this out, like a predestiny that it's already been written. But just like with retellings of stories, there's also an opportunity for you to riff on it, to make it your own, to have it end in a way that you want, right? So, Lady in Doctor Strange 2, can't remember her name. I remember reading Night D? Oh, yeah. Okay. Lady in Doctor Strange. What is her name again? Are you talking about Multiverse of Madness with Scarlet Witch? Was she in Doctor Strange too? I can't remember now. Nightfall in book format at the library. I have a beautiful way of thinking. Oh, thank you. I feel like my perspective is not necessarily shared by everyone. But like, I don't know, it's just the way I am, and that's what I've realized. Like, no one's going to be me, so I just have to be me, whatever that is, right? So that includes reading cosplay of comic books that, like, people have no idea, like, why are you even interested in that, Rachel? I'm like, I can't tell you, but it makes me happy reading it, right? People want to watch reality TV shows or whatever, listen to podcasts, do that. Like, I read comic books. And I do feel a lot of people would learn more about reality and the very sci-fi world that we are now finding ourselves in the age of Aquarius and all of that good stuff in comic books. There's a lot of truth within the fiction and the stories themselves. And yeah, I think that pretty much takes care of it. Thanks you guys for joining me for this late night read. I'll be back tomorrow with Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, the conclusion, and we may do a little look at Crisis on Infinite Earths as well. And I'm going to try to look at because there's a couple of Crisis storylines, so I'm going to look into what would be the next crises to look at as far as the worlds go in DC. So that's tomorrow, which is Friday. And then Saturday, we'll do, like, I like it, like, Saturday morning cartoons. Basically, we'll do this. Avengers versus X-Men, but we'll also do it as kind of like a fun little expose into like RPG, like role-playing games. So, like, if this were a fight, because remember those, like, role-playing cards, like Marvel cards? So if we were to actually do tabletop RPG, Avengers versus X-Men, who would win in an encounter? And it depends on probably what you're dealing with, right? Because, for example, if you're gonna take, like, Phoenix Force and, like, Jean Grey and Professor X up against the Avengers are going to have to pick very carefully who they are going to need to go up against that. Make it happen. Yeah. Logan's Run is, I feel, the world of the future. You know, writers and creative people, that's the way I look at it, is this, that we are like a lightning bolt. It's like being a conduit. You are the carrier, the connection between heaven and earth, right? So when you have a dream, when you have an idea, you have a concept, you start writing your story with these imaginary tales, that is you pulling from the great Akashic record, the ether, and pulling it down for us to all enjoy, because you're that conduit, you're that instrument, the antenna, the radio signal to catch the signal, catching the wave, catching the flow, right? So I never think of any of the stories that I write as being completely mine. They belong to humanity, right? So I do feel like with any of these stories too, like Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, who created Superman, or whoever created the X-Men, right? Or like Stan Lee, Marvel, all like any of these stories, right? That they came once from just an idea. And where do those ideas come from, right? They come from the all that we all have access to. But we all have a different lens, a different way of looking at it. And so I think all of us can just have a little bit more forgiveness and a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more acceptance of other people's versions of stories, right? Clea, who I met. Okay. Let me look at that up. Doctor Strange to Clea. Okay. Just so I can get a vision of her. Oh, yes. Yes. Clea is actually in my, I like her, actually. Clea. She's actually in my Captain America old comic book. Fun fact, Captain America and Doctor Strange are actually really great allies. So that would be like Doctor Strange would be the Avengers card against the more psychic people, right? You'd have magic versus maybe the high level psychics kind of thing. A new living will come about. Yes, Adam. It kind of needs to. And tomorrow as well, in addition to whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, I'm going to take off these gloves for just a second to close this and get you guys excited about what we're going to do tomorrow, is Promethea, right? By also Alan Moore. And, oh, I love magic. Magic, who's her brother again? Colossus? Is Colossus her brother, I feel like? Okay. But we're going to read some Promethea tomorrow, which Alan Moore also wrote the Superman comic book that I'm reading, you guys. And the reason being is that Alan Moore also came out with a recent book called A Bumper Book of Magic. And it's just because, like, there's some beautiful panels in here that really, like, encode, like, these are, like, the fixed stars, right? Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. Wait, no, so that's Aquarius, the water bearer. It's interesting how it's interesting how Scorpio is associated with the eagle. I'll come back to that in just a second. Moore is Rebel Man 3000. Oh my gosh, I love Alan Moore. He's not easy to read, but that is kind of the point, I think, right? Oh, thank you, Master Sith, for that. But yes, like, these panels are gorgeous. I'll read you guys just a little bit of this, and then I will close the live stream for tonight, and I'll catch you all tomorrow as Supergirl. But I will do in the day around lunchtime, just because it's a full moon in Taurus, right? I'll be doing some card readings for you guys, which is like, I look at reading cards similar to reading comic books, left to right, past, present, future. We're going to be doing a reading for the collective, all of us, for tomorrow's full moon, as we experience this age of Aquarius, this age of enlightenment, whatever that looks like for you guys. And I'll probably be going through each of the signs, and I'll post a replay for you if you can't make it for noon. But then later, we'll be doing some Supergirl reads you about whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow. There's actually, I think Neil Gaiman did something called Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader, which is the Batman version of that, which I'm going to try to find to do as Batgirl as well. But that's tomorrow. And then we're going to have more Marvel over the weekend with some wild card, different Marvel characters to try to put together. But I'm going to read you some Promethea, which is what I'm going to read after we complete Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Or today. What is time, anyways? Okay. Well, my loves, we're at the end, at the death, if you like. Although, like death, there's plenty more surprises on the other side. But while we're here and alive, let's be glad. Einstein's space-time is a timeless, four-dimensional solid containing every instant simultaneously, forever, including our lives. Death, therefore, is a perspective illusion of the third dimension. do not worry. A funeral celebration, or a wake, dominates James Joyce's Finnegan's Wake, in which all human experience is distilled into one timeless day. Cheers. I love you, Alan Moore. So true. After all, we've plenty worth celebrating despite all the world's carnage. The silver of our imagination, the soul's gold, the wonder of our perceptions, arranging this random swirl of particles about us into a reality. Modern science acknowledges with the mystics that there are other realities beyond our conventional human construct. Reality, essentially, is a field of information through which all of us perceiving entities roam as what physicists, or rather form as what physicist Murray Gell-Mann called information gathering and utilizing systems, or IGUs, unless that means it's God understanding something. Here on the other side, if fiction is reality's flip side, let's celebrate imagination. Like perception or reality, imagination is flexible, can suddenly invert itself, cartwheel gloriously from one concept to the next. Imagination can do anything. I love this. Intelligence is not based upon the number of the brain's neurons, but how many connections we forge between them, linking one concept, one neuron with another, in a shimmering, self-aware neural net. The number of potential neural connections in the brain exceeds the number of particles in the known universe. Ooh, Alan Moore. Oh my gosh. An angel somersaulting through our consciousness. Imagination derives from an image, a colorful form unfolding mentally. Image has the same root word as imago, an adult insect, which brings me to the matter of my name. Both angels and imaginative thoughts, being phenomena not reliably repeatable under laboratory conditions, are equally outside the province of empirical science. Consciousness, unprovable by scientific standards, is forever, then, the impossible phantom in the predictable biologic machine, and your every thought a genuine supernatural event. Your every thought is a ghost dancing. Promethea, an imaginary fictional character who manifests in reality through artists and writers that tell her story. Obviously, the name's a feminine version of Prometheus, which means forethought, which also means imagination. So that's appropriate. Promethea is also a title character in the Book of Promethea by Helene Cixous, where she is a heroine of infinity summoned from the writer's imagination. The current authors were unaware of this work when creating their comic book incarnation. Salamure calamisia promethea is also the name of a species of moth. Imagination, tumbling, spinning, is the light that guides humanity into its future. The heaven-stolen light, Prometheus, gave mankind a bright, forbidden knowledge, snake-granted in Eden. The serpent's name, Lucifer, means light-bringer, incidentally. In Hebrew numerology, letters have number values. The word for the biblical serpent, oh my goodness, how do you say this? Nestarti? adds up to 358, as does Messiah, meaning Messiah, another light bringer. Usually the fire and the light bringer, be it Prometheus, Loki, or Jesus, is bound or nailed somewhere in punishment, often with their side ravaged or pierced. The immateria consciousness, imagined as a space populated by fictions, resembles mysticism's astral plane composed of astral light, pervading everything. Consciousness studies, which is the fastest growing science since 1994, sometimes describes consciousness as radiation permeating our brains and also the universe. A fiction-populated twilight world was also proposed by author Mendrick Bangs in 1862 to 1922. So Bangs is the last name of Sophie in this story. So I'm not going to continue any further because this is just a piece of, this is book 5. I have books 1 to 4. I've read pieces before, but I got this one when I got The Man of Tomorrow because Alan Moore has written both. So it's his voice coming through in both. And I think someone had brought in the chat up before, which I agree with, that what a joy to find an illustrator who can capture what you are thinking, right? That collaboration is truly magical, which is why when my friend Tiny Aphrodite, she was like, what would happen if you took like a comic book and you got someone to just re-illustrate it? And I was like, I don't think you can do that, because with a comic book, you have a team. You have like the illustrator who's making those panels with the dialogue in mind, with the writing in mind. So to kind of strip away and take out that illustrator and replace it with another, I don't think works in the medium of comic books. Oh my goodness. They just oh my gosh, they just restricted my TikTok live, you guys. Issued at 3. Wow, they issued a restriction at 333 for me. Wow. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, you guys, for what, I don't know, something I just read in Promethea triggered something in TikTok, you guys. You guys let me. Yeah, that's why I haven't read you guys Promethea, because there's something in there that triggers reality. Yeah, no, I'm serious. No, seriously, you guys, it literally just, I need to take a screen grab of it because they restricted me at 333, and my numerology birth number, you guys, is 33. And you guys all know, like, about the 30, like, the wink from the universe when it comes to, how do I even do this? I don't want to, okay. Screen grab without, yes, I got it. Okay, I got to show my hubby this. Because what did I read you guys? I didn't even read anything. I just read you guys a secret. You guys were there. Yes, intelligence. And so what I don't know what that was. Was there a naked lady on it? Let me go back. I'm not going to re-show it because then they're going to just trigger me again, but I wonder what it was. But you guys were here. You guys were here for it. They literally restricted me at exactly 3:33 a.m. because I was reading you guys truth. These things. Yeah. Wow. What was it? I don't know what it was that triggered it. Okay, so I'll get the replay up, you guys. Oh, they removed the restriction. Weird. Where, you guys, I don't know what's happening. So when you do TikTok lives, I have this little thing in the corner where it'll sometimes say like restricted. So before, you know, like I've done like DJ dance events with you guys, and sometimes when I show a little bit too much booty and a little bit too much boobies, they get mad at me and they restrict it. So you guys tell me sometimes, like, how come you don't have as many people in your, like, lives? I'm like, I think it's because sometimes I trigger the restriction with too much cleavage or, like, whatever is going on. So, TikTok banner, they're out. Oh, they're out. Sergeant Big Sexy, you know what I might have to do? I might have to, you know how on TikToks they have the stream just for above 18. I may have to keep Promethea for that because the themes in here are like super spicy. Yeah, I'm actually Spider-Man, I swear. I'm lying. I can't play guitar, guy. Yeah, no, I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna go back and see when that happened, because right now the restriction's gone. So I'm really happy I took the screen grab of it, because what a crazy thing, because I didn't read you guys anything bad. I'm trying to go, I want to know exactly what of what I read you triggered it. Maybe it was the whole Lucifer thing. You think? Prometheus? I think I was just talking truth, you guys. Wow. I think so too. I think there must have been that. Yeah, because if I'm talking about angels and like imagination and how to actually break reality, yeah, you might TikTok ban it. Wow, okay, what a crazy thing, you guys. I just got full body tingles through my whole self. So what we'll do tomorrow, you guys, I just came up with it now, just based on that restriction that just happened. I feel like there was a reason why I read that now. I wasn't even planning on reading this. I was just waiting for tomorrow. But that's how divination works, you guys. Happy full moon. I know you're watching me, but I am watching you back, AI. Okay, so in my book, though, too, it's based, you guys will see. I'll release that tomorrow. Ah, yes, Sapin with a T. Yes. What does TikTok really know? It's true. So that's why I do cosplay too. Then that you can't triangulate what I really look like. Yes, that's this one, Adam. This is Alan Moore's retirement story, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, because he speaks about this potentially being, it's here, Andrew Hefner, or Helfer rather, who took over as the editor of one of the Superman line of comics. It was a unique moment in the history of Superman. In that one moment, we were closing the book on Superman. And in that moment, it was really the last Superman story. It was not an imaginary story. You could utilize all the real things that had preceded it and really create a definitive conclusion for the story of Superman. That only existed as a real story for a moment, because right afterwards, the first issue of The Man of Steel basically defined all of the previous Superman stories as imaginary stories. Of course, that doesn't mean that they were any less valid or any less enjoyable, but they were no longer in continuity, which is what happened with Crisis, right? You basically cleaned up all of the universes. So I had already began some of this with you guys. This opening is legit. I will reread the opening. We'll go into Supergirl as well, but I didn't read you guys the conclusion, and the conclusion does have a nice little wink to it, because if I'm Kara Zor-El, right, as well, so I'm looking for you, Superman, right? Where are you? I'm pretty sure my hubby is a version of Nightwing or Batman. He gravitates more to the Bat family. But remember, Superman and Supergirl are cousins. So I'm looking for you, Superman. I know you're out here. I know you're here. So, and I know, like, Wolverine, you're out here. Captain America, I know you're out here. I know you guys are here. So it's time for you guys to wake up. The world needs us. We gotta stop pretending like we're not, you know? But yeah, and so Promethea, what we'll do tomorrow is the reading as Kara will be open to everyone, but then I will do a quick change, and I'll change it to a version of Promethea for this reading of Promethea later, because I think that deserves it. A Promethea cosplay to read Promethea. Because who knows what magic will happen with the full moon tomorrow. And then I will restrict that reading to 18 plus, just so I can actually read this in full, because, yeah, it's got some good stuff in it that I think some of you are probably meant to see. And I'm not going to be able to get around the censorship stuff otherwise. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being a slice. This has been a fun one, you know? I wasn't expecting it to be so spicy, but here it is. Together we roll. Yes, I love that. And like we are, I have a name for us, right? I'm working on something that goes along with my new movie that I'm trying to get funding for on Indiegogo tomorrow, called Escape from District 6, which is the spiritual sequel to John Carpenter's Escape from LA and Escape from New York, you know, with like Snake Plissken, the eye patch and stuff. So this is a spiritual successor to that, where we live in a dystopic science fiction futuristic universe, and Toronto is known as District 6. District 1 is LA, District 2 is New York, District 3 is London, District 4. So we have like different districts in many of the cities, and then the whole premise of the movie is a race against time. There's a big cosmic alignment to open a portal in order to jump timelines to enact the past so that we can avoid this dystopic future. So kind of Terminator-y. So that's why I've been doing a lot of multiverse reading and timeline reading, because when you're writing that stuff, you need to make it make sense. It can't just be all willy-nilly, because there's a whole truth to it. There are multiple universes out there, and many of us are now becoming much more aware of it. And how we perceive those other universes is not like how anything's actually been told to us in like mainstream stuff before, right? Or in schools or things like that. So it's kind of up to us, because we have a whole generation of children who are going to be born with Pluto in Aquarius. And it's up to us, because these kids are going to be very, very aware of the other realms, for us to build the new way of how we do things, the new way of how we educate our children, the new way of how we teach people how to grow our own food, work with nature, activate our psychic powers, have telekinesis, all that stuff. We are the ones that we've been waiting for, basically, right? Have a Big Trouble Little China Escape from New York collab. Oh my gosh, I love Big Trouble Little China. Yeah, but surfing the sewers, yeah. Oh my gosh, Wolveraza, you guys. Snake Plissken. Oh my god. You can make that happen. I'm going to try to reach out to John Carpenter too, because he's done a lot of stuff here in Toronto, like filming wise, like Mouth of Madness was filmed here, as well as like just all the stuff with the practical effects. I love, because I feel like we can do things so much better. Like CG, we've come so far with editing and CG, that if we did a much more beautiful balance between really good practical effects and the CG, we could get something that's so much more impactful than what we get out in Hollywood right now. And it doesn't need to be done with such a big budget anymore either. Hey Marvin, thanks for joining. I'm just about to log off. Thanks you guys for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow, as I told you, for like an Alan Moore comic book double feature with Supergirl and Promethea, and then we got Marvel on the weekend. And if you want to support any of the cosplay, I have a Cosmic Comic Book Club on Locals, which you can join in my link tree. I know everything is super disorganized, but things are slowly actually finally getting tightened up, so that you can join like superhero school, and we can all work together on activating who you're meant to be in this game of life, right? Because that's really what this is all about. You being you, whatever that looks like. And for many of you, I think it's going to be part of building whatever the new thing is. And that's a trip, because it hasn't been done yet before. So I encourage you, contact your inner child, touch base with him or her, talk to your higher self, have an active dream world, work on yourself, because the universe is counting on you, right? But not to worry, I got your back. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, you guys, as Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, and I'll catch all of you next time. See you all in the dreamscape, guys. Till next time.